Yup.
Hello, Tolu. Good to see you. Can't hear you.
Hi, Lerina.
Hi. Finally, we get to see each other. I know you were
finally
my colleague.
No, I'm not sure about it.
Wow.
I just came in. I don't know.
So, okay, now you're not teacher here. You're not teacher.
Yeah, I hope you're all set. Olushola Adebayo, are you set?
Of today's virtual sports debate, and I'm sure all our debaters are ready, and we are just joining us. We are a bit behind schedule, but no, never mind. We will take care of all of those lapses, and everything will be fine. The topic is very simple and very direct. It's all about trying to track a blame on the menace, human trafficking through football. Who is to be blamed? Is it the players, the coaches, the intermediary, or the so-called agents, or even the government? You know, human trafficking is as old as humanity itself. It is one of the most underreported crimes of man against man. Since the abolishment of slave trade, the usage of man for slave jobs is going on unabated. They're coming through different means, but follow the same pitch, a false promise of hope and greener pasture which will never come. And it is more pronounced through football, because 25% of world human trafficking cases are reported yearly as been linked to football. Young footballers are majorly deceived and lured into traveling. At the end, they will come back and tell you tragic tales if they eventually survive. Some of them don't even, are not so lucky to stay alive to tell their stories. So we'll be looking at the menace today, who's to blame. You see the players, the coaches, and the parents, intermediaries, or the government. So let me start introducing my debaters. Let me start from Lerina Bright. I can see Lerina on my screen. You're welcome. She is the founder of Mission 89, a research, education, and advocacy non-governmental organization headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. The NGO addresses child trafficking in sport, so we have a capable hand with us. Through grassroots and digital campaign initiatives, the organization has raised the awareness of trafficking phenomena among the youth in a space that has become increasingly targeted by fraudsters. Lerina has a long history in sport management and administration, which includes roles with national and international sport federations in Europe, the Middle East, the North American, and the Caribbean. He holds an MA in sports administration from AISC in Lausanne, Switzerland. You are is a sport journalist. He writes about sport and he has done a lot of work on social and human rights issues. And his works have appeared in the Mail, The Guardian, and there's one job he did on this topic that traveled far and wide. It was on Al Jazeera and it was nominated for several awards. And his last work as goes Nigeria's deputy editor. Welcome to Tolu Olasoji. You can wave your hand so that our people can know it's you. All right, I can also see Reverend Emmanuel Nyabam. I don't know where to start with the profile of this man. He has all the degrees in the world. The BL, PGD, TH, MA, Edu, MPhil, PhD. Oh my God. But what I can tell you is that he's a lawyer of high repute. He's an anti-human trafficking activist, a trainer, a social activist, and a football intermediary agent. Because of his love for our kids, he co-founded CLAPAI Orphanage Homes. He's also a pastor. So it's everything wrapped in one, and I'm sure from all of those angles that he's coming from, he's going to provide us a lot of insight, and I'm sure he's going to name names and who to blame on this topic. All right, I also see Coach Mansur Abdullahi. Coach Mansur Abdullahi, can you also wave your hand so that people can know it's you there on my screen? Coach Mansur Abdullahi has been a coach through and through all his life. He has been training kids. He's one of the coaches that is behind the success of Kelechi Iheanacho at the maiden under-13 national team. Kelechi Iheanacho was part of those guys he nurtured, and he has been working as under-13, under-15, working with the Falcons, working with male football. He has seen everything as far as grassroots and international football is concerned. So he's a bridge, and he can tell us how it is to the minds of those kids that really want to become the next Ronaldo, the next Gigi or Kocha, and ended up in the wrong and trying to travel abroad. Then also on the panelist today is Kenny Ogumiloro. Kenny Ogumiloro is an award-winning sports AAP on Fresh FM 105.9 Ibadan, owned by the popular gospel crooner Dr. Yinka Ayefele MO1. The station is fast growing in the southwest, and the Abekuta branch is breaking all odds in a short time of existence. Ogumiloro is a computer scientist, and he eventually left his ICT job in a four-star hotel to come into broadcast journalism. And since he made that glorious switch, it has been stories from glory to glory for him. So he'll be joining us on this discourse as well. There is also Barrister Victoria Inlemigo, the founder and president of Women Football Association of Nigeria, a women football advocacy initiative, a proactive group for the good of women football and welfare of the girl child. Co-founder and Secretary General of Legal Advocacy for the good of Nigerian football, a pressure group for the good of our football, legal protection for footballers' rights, and players' legal representation and advisory. Also, she is a gender and human rights lawyer, humanitarian vanguard. All right, I also have Iseri Ogbemudia. I used to call him the million Raula of Nigerian football. He has the contact and he knows how to get coaches and players the best of contracts if they allow him. He knows his job, a talented sports consultant with strong educational foundation and background in sourcing top talent and securing high-value contracts and sponsorship deals. People person with a passion to negotiate in style, decisive and proactive in nature, and ultimately he understands the grassroots as well, because most parents have really come through him to help them find greener pasture for their kids at the end. He let them know the way to go, but probably the parents is part of the problem as well. We will find out from Iseri Ogbemudia, aka Don Fiaso. And I'm told that Honorable Abike Dabiri-Erewa will be joining us. That's the Chairman CEO, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM. He'll be representing the Chairman CEO, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Akanbi Abiodun, the Assistant Chief Program Officer, Program Development Department, NIDCOM. So my table is set, and everybody is really ready to help us name who to blame for human trafficking through football. But I will not be fair to the host if I did do this in the person of Ambassador Michael Shodeke. Mike Shodeke, you can wave your hand if you can hear me clearly. And he is the brain behind all of this. And he is the CEO Anfield Lane Sports Promotion, and the Anfield Sports version public debate coming up today, 10th of December 2020, is everything born and nurtured by where I hope this will impact the society and everyone that is listening. All right, can we set the ball rolling? And let me start with Lerina Bright. How do you start this off?
Well, thank you so much for that kind introduction, and also thank you to for the invitation to be part of this esteemed panel, who are representative, I think, of the key stakeholder groups that that must take action, to help mitigate the risk of youth and children being trafficked in and through sport. So again, my name is Lerina Bright, and I'm the Executive Director of Mission 89, which is a Geneva-based NGO that's working to prevent human trafficking in and through sport. And so, it's not only football that's affected, but there are also other sports such as baseball, basketball, athletics as well, also face risks of trafficking. So to provide you with some background information on Mission 89, it was established in 2017, and it was founded out of the realization that there weren't, or at least there weren't any organizations that were addressing this very specific child safeguarding risk in sport. In fact, having worked for several years in sport administration at national and continental level, as was mentioned, words such as child safeguarding, child protection, they were never used in the context of sport, so let alone references made to human trafficking. At least that wasn't the case about 5 years ago, which is when I stopped working in that field. That is changing now, and there is a lot of focus on at least the concept of child safeguarding, but there's still not much that's being talked about around child trafficking, and this has been our fight. This has been our fight, and I think we've made quite significant strides and have achieved some major victories. One of which I would say is that for the very first time this year, the U.S. State Department which grades countries on how well they're doing as far as addressing human trafficking in general. So they included in their thematic section a segment on human trafficking and athletes, and that was the very first time they did that. And this was a direct result of a consultation between the Trafficking in Persons Office and Mission 89. So I think to answer the question kind of, well, it's not the main question, but why is this issue of football trafficking not being addressed? I mean, there are quite a few reasons, but the obvious one is that there's just so much money that's involved in developing and buying and selling of players. And then also we have to acknowledge the fact that there's a a certain complicity among legitimate actors who hold key positions within the sport and football environment, and are either active in trafficking, or even by merely looking away, they're also complicit, by allowing it to continue. So, we also have to acknowledge the fact that the football industry is driven by talent, very young talent, which just keeps on getting younger and younger. So, before there was a Kanu or Kocha, and now Mane, Salah, there needed to have been thousands and thousands of young children that were screened and scouted. And just through this process alone, it brings about, great trafficking risks. So our vision as an organization is to end child trafficking in sport. It's a lofty pursuit, of course, because that can never be achieved without addressing the underlying cause, which is often poverty and lack of awareness and education. But we've decided to focus on research, advocacy, and education, because we feel that these three areas represent the challenges in addressing this issue, but it also represents the solution. Our approach is largely based on multi-stakeholder engagement, because human trafficking in general, it's a multi-stakeholder problem. So the solution needs to come from a multitude of stakeholders, many of whom are represented here today. So I would say, to answer directly the question of who's to blame, there isn't one stakeholder group that's to blame, in my opinion, because everyone that's represented here has a role to play in closing these loopholes that traffickers are using and rogue agents are exploiting. So I think we need to, to rather search internally and say, what are we doing as a sector? What are we doing as a stakeholder group? We have a reverend on board. I mean, obviously, religious leaders are widely regarded, especially in the African context. So they have a role to play in mitigating this. And then lawyers as well, the media, they need to be educated better on how to how to tell the story and not necessarily just copy and paste. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but articles and stories that are being written and glorified, footballers in Europe, and then you rewrite that in the African context and create this illusion. I think there's also responsibility of the media to tell the stories, glorify, yes, but to actually also provide a background on how many of these people that we admire, footballers that we admire, come to be where they are. So that's thank you.
Thank you, Lerina. I know you have a lot to
Yes.
give us, but don't worry, we'll give you another time. Your intro has covered a whole lot. So let me just speak from that intro and speak to Tolu Olasoji. Tolu, are you ready for us?
You have been hacked by hackers. Ha ha ha.
Tolu?
If you kick me out, you'll lose all your money.
Yeah, are you ready for us? She actually mentioned telling the stories, and I know you did a job on such a story. And my worry is, in the course of your investigation, do you were you able to get apart from the fact that the child is eager to go and the parents are willing to support that trip, is there a cartel somewhere or a group of people that are really more or less mountains? Hello?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. Let me take that again.
Some, I don't know, Aka in here.
Okay, let me take that again.
Can you get rid of Natalie on the screen? There's a Natalie on the screen.
Okay. There's Natalie on the screen. Yeah, that's the thing.
That probably isn't where she's supposed to be.
Are you done?
All right, Tolu, are you there?
Yeah. So what
Okay.
the question is?
The police, they are after me. Report.
Tolu?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm saying, apart from the fact that the kids are willing to travel and the parents are ready to backing them up with all their properties and money, do you uncover any cartel somewhere that will make it difficult for us to break this human traveling?
For that particular story, I actually did not uncover any cartel. It was an individual, right? But afterwards, I've encountered situations where it's kind of like an organized crime, and they basically use this normal Nigerian 419 framework, where they come through emails and then they try to lure you into, sending money over. But the catcher is football, and it's actually very easy to use football. So, but for the story, I never encountered any cartel. It was an agent who it was a footballer who moonlighted as an agent, who actually isn't a registered agent, and then played on the intelligence of someone who trusted him a lot, and that was how the story came about.
Okay, I will get back to that because I'm trying to see, instead of going all out for blame, we should look for solution as well. So I think that question, whether I can help us to get solution as well. Now let's go to who to blame. How do you come in here? Who do you blame?
I think number one, the people with the blame primarily are the scammers, right? The unscrupulous agents, right? But then, like Lerina said, we all have a part to play, and the fact that there are also people in power that are also complicit in these acts that wouldn't speak up, you understand, that wouldn't want to be caught, makes it really difficult. From my own part as a journalist, I think we have to tell more of the stories. Football or trafficking in generally, it's a covert operation, right? So they thrive on, the hush environment, not having media outfits speak out or speak against their operations and stuff like that. You see, if you uncover a cartel, they kind of like disperse, and then it helps a lot of people. It helps them with the understanding of how they come, and Mission 89 did something on a few months ago where there was a graphical illustration of how players could be approached. So I love that for the fact that it is really, really simple, because the thing is, people were passing across this message too, right? They probably do not have they do not have like the intellectual capacity to grapple with academic submissions. So it is really, when you make it experiential for them, they really understand how they are probably going to be approached and how to uncover if it is fraud or not, or what steps to take. So in that part, I think journalism also has a part to play, uncovering these issues and then making it as readable as possible for footballers who would need it, or aspiring footballers who would need it. So yeah, that part for me.
All right, and why is it so underreported? I'm really worried. Since that your story, I'm trying to get other stories on board, but I only come across one or two. Even those were probably before yours.
Yeah, the thing is, number one, people who are victims of reporting, who are victims of trafficking are often, I don't know, stigmatized, or are often shy to come out. They don't want to talk about their ordeals. I encountered while the subject basically goes on me for several days, and then in return, because it doesn't want the pity party. It knows he has probably messed up his chance at playing football and stuff like that. But he doesn't still want the pity party. He's kind of like feeling sorry for himself, and again, he doesn't want to be the center of attention. That one, and then the fact that most of the time, what we have in African, or what we have on the mainstream are news for clicks. You want to report the really interesting stuff, and again,
the ghost and the paparazzi.
delving into investigations like this cost a lot of money, and media outfits in Nigeria, for instance, are really underreported. So yeah, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of resources, and media outfits in Nigeria, the average media outfit in Nigeria I don't think they can afford all of those. So and the fact that they need collaboration from the main victims themselves, who are really not ready to comply because of the fear of being stigmatized, and they still want to go further ahead in their career, so they don't want to be in the news for the wrong reasons.
All right, let's hold it there. Let me move to the coach, Mansur Abdullahi. Mansur Abdullahi, are you close by? Coach, are you ready? You can wave your hand. All right. You deal with kids and pressure from parents as well, and the pressure on the kids themselves because they believe they are so talented, they need to be exposed as quick as possible. Do you see this as a major challenge to encouraging trafficking through football?
Well, you see, good morning, everybody. Great submission by the two debaters who had made some points clear. We know child trafficking or human trafficking is an international issue. It's a challenge globally. Football is not left aside. A lot of things have been happening in the game of football, but you want to know, except if you are close to these very traps and their parents. Back to your question, whether because of the parents felt that the child is good enough, you can go, or the child himself is good to go. Yeah, you will agree with me. A lot of parents, from the experience I have, a lot of parents will come and tell you, I have a child, he is a good footballer. All right, they are not coaches. They are not technicians. They don't know anything about technicality of the game, but they will tell you the child is good to go. But quite sad, when you bring the player, just throw ball to him, you watch his ball reception, from there you know where to place it. I concur and agree with you. Some of these issues, parents believe that their child is good, because you will agree with me that today the game of football is it's an international business. So everybody, and due to the rate of poverty in the part of the country, in this part of the world where we are, everybody wants to see how today we tell you if you want a child to start kicking ball. That is at that very angle. The players themselves, some of them, because they see what maybe Chubuzo did with the ball, they assume also they are better than Chubuzo. Maybe Chubuzo is just giving, is just having a platform where he showcases himself. But when you bring these players today, bring them very close. You agree with me in our mix, the spiritual father, and a man, just like what he said, the man with many caps. So pressure again, these players also, they assume that they know how to play football, or they are better, they are good to go. Some of them, as a result of pressure from their respective families, a lot of them, you see, they will tell you, pressure is too much on me, my family are looking up to me, please help me, let me move. Even when he can't handle the ball. Because football techniques cannot be taken for granted. If there's no technicality from the footballer, he can play the football. So in my submission, just like what my sister has said earlier, everybody in the industry in this very trafficking. To me, if you leave me all this, just like the submission, Mr. Tolu have said, the journalism, a lot of things, even you now, you have said earlier, that some of the stories he did, nobody found them again, only him did the story. I remember one of the top journalists of blessed memory, Ayojide Fashekun. These are some of the things they always dig into it. My submission, I quite agree with you that sometimes the pressure from the parent, the pressure from the players also assume that they know how to play this game. And I'm happy AD is here because he's a player intermediary. Even you yourself as a host and also the Reverend Father, some of these players, when they tell you they are good, when you take them out of this country, believe me honestly, in the next few days, if they are the next few days, you will hear that they'll call you, the player is coming back because the player has nothing to offer. That is my submission for now.
All right, Coach, let me quickly put you on the spot. I want to know whether you've been told to look for jobs, like they normally say on the street for a particular player in abroad, and then you told them that it's not good enough, and the parents take the boy elsewhere, and you heard he has traveled. Has it occurred before?
You see, as I told you, most of them believe. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, there are a lot of them. Some an average Nigeria. Hello?
I'm struggling to hear you. Can you hear me? I'm saying, is there any practical, has it happened before? I'm asking you that, has it happened before that a parent has come to you to look for a club in abroad and you said the boy is not good enough and they still find their way to that abroad?
Yeah, there are many of them. Some of them even take you as enemy. Maybe you don't want their child to progress, or you don't want the young man that you don't want him to make it in football. But you know the truth is always bitter. You have to tell people the truth. I keep on telling people it's better for you to hold me the truth than to please me.
All right, I like that. We continue to say the truth. And let me bring aboard Eddie Ogbemudia because he is supposed to know he's in charge of player transfer and what have you. I'm going to approach this matter in two ways. The first is the coach looking for jobs for players by cutting the agent, and the agent too refusing to tell the players the truth about their chances of making it abroad. How do you see these two issues contributing to human trafficking? And secondly, maybe you will educate us on what it takes for a budding talent from Africa to get to Europe. So those are the ways I'm looking at it from your end.
All right, good morning, everyone. Let me quickly start from the second question, talking about the role of the football agent as it relates to the trafficking of football players. Basically, we have a depth of knowledge in players management, especially in the Africa. Most of these agents or those parading themselves as agents, they are not trained. They don't have the knowledge about the business. They don't know the duties they are assigned to. So that is why we have situation whereby you hear over the news and somewhere that a particular footballer traveled to trial abroad and somehow it was abandoned. Some of these agents, they forget that they have a duty of care on to make sure that these players by the parent, just like as was mentioned by Coach Mansur. Personally, I've had series of experience. A lot of parents have actually approached me that their children, their wards, they are very good in football. They know I'm an international agent. Let me help them to place their footballer, their children abroad. You know, I'll tell them, okay, let me see what it can do, you know, maybe by recommending that particular player to a club. And after assessment by that local coach, the coach will give me his feedback, say that this does not have what it takes. And by the time I give the parents the feedback that, unfortunately, I will be unable to work with this, your son, because what I require from a player, he doesn't have it. You know, just as Coach Mansur said, there will be a form of enmity. But it's obvious that sometimes we still need to blame the parents. As I said earlier, we still need to blame some of the agents because they are lacking knowledge about how this whole thing works. They believe that the major thing they just do to package a player, get visa, and fly abroad with such a player. By the time he gets to the club, if he doesn't succeed, the agent will consider the money he has spent. In most cases, they abandon these players, and that is how trafficking begins. You understand? So now, basically, another angle also is also the players, not even parents, because personally, I've also had interaction with some players that they were desperate to travel, and they told me they need to travel, this, that, whatever I need to do, I should do. I said, okay, give me your video clips. I send it to my partners in Europe, and they said, this does not have the quality we're looking for. They might actually spoil my contact there, because if I recommend a player of low quality, my partners in Europe will not believe me again anytime I make a recommendation to them. So it's something that the parents, even the footballers, and also the agents that are desperate, I tell you, some of them are using it as business. I have been confronted with a series of invitations. They will tell me, Eddie, please help me reconfirm. I tell you, this is not possible. This is a doctored invitation. Please don't go, because in most cases, you will see them asking the players or the parents to pay some money for those invitations. And that is how it usually begin. You start paying, you even pay your way, to trafficking yourself to Europe. Sometimes it's not even someone taking you now, you pay with your own money, you traffic yourself to Europe or another parts of the world, and you suffer there. So it's something that it really needs a lot of awareness.
So Eddie, talking about awareness now, what are the basic routes for this budding talent to get to Europe so that our journalists can write on them?
Okay, basically, you must be in, for me, like most of the players that have passed through into Europe, you must be playing a football here first, maybe in an organized academy or a football club that you are doing well. So in an assessment, your coaches and other people in that particular team should attest to the fact that you are talented. So with that particular assessment by or referee by other people around you, it's easy for you to be at least recommended, or maybe during the participation of your academy or your club in some organized competition, you might be spotted by a particular scout, and from immediately you may be recommended to a particular club, and there will be invitation, and also there will be some inquiry on your status, on how you can move immediately either to Europe or any other part of the world. So the thing is that you must be playing in an organized academy or a football club. Like I tell you, most of the players that are falling victim of football trafficking, most of them are not even in any organized academy. They just train individually, and they just believe they have this talent, and because their parents are wealthy, they believe, they can make it in Europe and they can make it to wherever they are. So the thing is that you must be playing an organized competition, like in an academy or a football club, where you can be scouted, or maybe during participation of a scouting tournament or whatever. Maybe club directors from Europe are here, or whatever way at all. You must be playing in an organized academy or a football club.
All right, and you mentioned payment of money for this document from invitation. Is that a red flag when you have being asked to pay for invitation? Is that a red flag?
It's a red flag, because a club that will invite you to come to their facility, to come to be assessed, in most cases, some clubs have even paid flight tickets for some players that have passed through me. I've never had a situation. I've gotten invitation for a series of players in Nigeria League and even in neighboring Ghana. I've never paid a dime for any invitation. Just invitation to go to the embassy, you would say you have to pay 100 euro, you have to pay. Those are red flags. Okay,
right.
Anyone that says you should pay before they send invitation or for you to go for anything, you know that there's more to it. If you tell me flight ticket is fine, fine, you can get the visa, but flight ticket, you have to fly yourself there, fine, that is understandable. But if anything invitation that you should pay a dime, that is a major red flag.
Okay, let me talk to the lawyers within us now. And let me start from ladies first, Barrister Victoria Ilemigbo. Is Ilemigbo with us? Barrister Ilemigbo. Okay. Okay, while we wait for Ilemigbo, let me go to Emmanuel Nyabam, the man of many caps. And you play football. And
yes,
you are still very close to footballers, and you're a pastor, you're a lawyer. How do you combine all these caps? Being a lawyer that the law is very blind and strict, and being a pastor that everything is humane. How do you combine both?
Well, the law is an ass first and foremost. Pardon my French, but I'd like to do something in responding to the questions you've given us by asking everybody listening right now. I just got this information right now from an insider in FIFA, and all you need is your passport. All you need is your passport. If anybody is interested, there's a new training coming up for human trafficking in sports and journalism. And FIFA will be doing that later this year, early next year rather. I'm actually reading the information, and I said, okay, I'll bring it up in this program while we're responding to this. All I'm asking that you as moderator check how many of us are interested in this training. Just a simple raise of hands. Just go to the button and press the raise of hands. Everybody here, those listening, just that. Let's do that quickly. Let's say 2-3 seconds. And while that is going on, sir, let me speak a bit. I represent two organizations. My parent organization, CLAPAI, which is Child Love and Advocacy and Protection Advocacy Initiative, which is the owner of CLAPAI Orphanage, and Media Campaign Against Human Trafficking, MICAT. Having said this to you, over the last 8 years, I have been a major advocate for human trafficking in sports. I thank Lerita because in Nigeria, we've gone across 16 states, of which within those 16 states, we've averaged 10 local governments per state. Particularly where I live, Plateau State, we've gone to 15 of the 17 local governments. And what are we doing? We're traffic proofing our children. We decided that it's time we take it back to the school. All right, we're not waiting for government anymore, but we're going back to the school to ask the question, who is to be blamed? That's a very major thing. All of us are to be blamed. The legitimate actors have been silent, like Lerita said earlier on. The quest for talent development is a major thrust and a lacuna, an open space for traffickers. But I tell people, and I'm saying it here right now, but I want to know how many people, sir, how many people are willing to take this training? So I will send it to you and you can put it up. before I go on. Hello? Can you hear me, sir? Hello? Hello?
We hear you,
Go
Emmanuel.
on, Barrister.
All right. No, I said, how many people have indicated they're interested?
Four.
So I can go further.
4.
4.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have trafficked 4 persons here already. That's what it is. So in human trafficking, there are 4 T's I want everybody here to pay attention to. Someone's going to try to trick you. That's number 1. They try to trick you. You just hear because, oh, he's an intermediary or he claims he's an intermediary. You have to find proof. You must identify the proof. So they trick you, and the next thing they do is they transport you. Today, the transportation they don't even pay for it now. They make you pay for it. My colleague, Eddie Iseri, has bluntly spoken about that, opened it up for us to understand. So you're tricked, you're transported. The next is that you are trapped. They get you into an atmosphere, maybe you get into Europe or something, where they're now telling you that, the cost of this and that, you have to pay this and that, and they know your parents can't do it and everything, and then you become trafficked. Trafficking goes into several things. You could become a housemaid, you can become a sex worker, all sorts of things. So, but today is not the time for us to do traffic proofing or advocating against the trafficking of our youth. So, who's to blame? First and foremost, the biggest blame goes to our parent, FIFA, and all sports organizations, because they have failed to set in place proper standards. Let me use my own country, Nigeria. Just about 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks now, I went as an intermediary to go and watch the Plateau United game versus Simba here in Jos. And I was not allowed into the stadium. I am a full-fledged intermediary. I didn't start as an intermediary when the intermediary system began, but started when the agency system was in place. That's how long ago I've been in the system. And I just put a call to the Commissioner of Youth and Sports and to the media officer of the club, Plateau United, and told them, so I can't go into this stadium. I'm leaving. Fortunately, they sent a driver to come and pick me up from my home because I told them I was not coming back, and I got to the stadium. Now, at the stadium, I engaged one of the Tanzanians, and the conversation came about how do we deal with this trafficking? Because it comes up regularly. Now, if intermediaries don't have full access to the facility and capacity of FIFA, then how do you check the excesses of those who are not even agents? Now we have unscrupulous agents within us. I'm dealing with a case right now with one of our colleagues and another colleague who has tricked a grown and matured and intelligent intermediary to giving out monies, and has taken 2 of the players who are stranded. I have had to tell this man that you've got to bring those boys back home and reorganize to get them to where they need to go to. We're working on it as we speak. My friend Totori, Francis Totori, has done a lot of writings. But you see, not every writing comes into the open space. A lot of it happens on WhatsApp groups and other things. So we need to make a clear, concerted statement in media. Media must be involved. Now, when I got into MICAT, I got in to campaign using media to advocate against human trafficking. We never realized at the time that sports had bad. Now, I was almost trafficked. I'm a lawyer. I went all the way to Egypt. And it was when I insisted on reading the document in English that I saved myself. the club was in cahoots with this unscrupulous agent. And I would have tied myself to about a 9-year contract, which would have ended my entire career because I wasn't even a kid when I went there. So when I insisted, they were dragging and making all sorts of things. They told me I had to pay for my hotel bills. I told them I'll pay, which shocked them. I was already playing here, playing for Plateau United at the time. So I didn't see a reason why. I had the money. I paid my way there. So I was ready to leave. Long and short was, this agent, unscrupulous agent, took my passport and left me in Egypt, not realizing that I had the intelligence enough to get myself out of it. And I made a report. I traced my way to the Nigerian High Commission and got a paper to bring me back. We finally picked that guy in Lagos, collected my passport, and we started legal processes. And again, in Nigeria, we're more of a mercy than justice people. So I soon had families and people involved at the highest level of football asking me to let go because of my career. At the time, I let go. To God be the glory, that man is dead now, but he trafficked several other players before he died. And I know it's their spirit that took him. So this is not something that's going to go away. We have a poor management system within FIFA, whether they like it or not. We have an intermediary list, but clubs interact with people who are not clearly agents. Even here in Nigeria, most agents, if you contact them, they are doing more business outside Nigeria than within Nigeria because they are not recognized by the clubs and their owners. Finally, I'd say, so that I give others a chance to speak, because if you allow me, there's so much to say, I will say it all. Coach Mansur has spoken very deeply about what the big problem is. The basic of the game of soft football is control, pass, and support. Quite often you hear a boy tells you can do this. Yes, you can do the basic, but are you sound enough in it to become a professional? If we're to talk of the technical depth needed, he is the right person to talk to. I have my coaching badges with the British FA, so even when I'm scouting players, I'm looking beyond the basics. I'm looking at the technical depth. If you don't have it, I'm going to call your family and tell them, sorry, this kid does not have it. He has the talent, but does not have the requisites. So what we're going to do is, if he's willing and you are willing, I would connect him with a coach or two who will train him and get him up to speed. Then we can look at the options available to us at that point. So that is something we must pay attention to. Again, there is very poor linkage. We have what is called the transfer matching system. It is only open to clubs and club owners. Now, we have what is called the intermediary list. Nigeria has, I think at last count, we have almost 180 agents within Nigeria. These are the ones who are legitimately licensed by the Federation. But let me tell you, I know at least 50 quacks who are not licensed, who have done more business than I have done within the system in this last transfer window. That's how bad it is. There's a poor linkage. We should have intermediate.
Barrister.
Yes, sir.
You are going on and on.
That's why I told you, let me say that as the last thing. Save
it, we'll come back to that.
No
and
problem,
let me bring the voice. Yeah, let me bring the voice of another barrister. You have actually mentioned the quacks, and you've mentioned the cases where we have someone being actually being picked. I'm looking at conventional. Is there any? Have you been able to get any case to a logical conclusion? Maybe somebody has been jailed and stuff like that. So I'm bringing up Barrister Victoria in Let Me Go, because I actually concluded on yours that they pegged you. the pastoral side of you actually prevail over the law side. So I'm bringing on Barrister Victoria in Lemigo. Barrister, are you with us? Barrister Victoria, are you there? Okay, while we are trying to bring a barrister on the standby, let me speak to Kenny Ogumiloro. Kenny Ogumiloro, good afternoon. Can you wave if you can hear me? Kenny Ogumiloro.
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
Hello, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, Kenny.
Okay.
I know because you are an OAP, you are always the first point of contact for these kids. They believe you know everybody in sport. You can take them to Barcelona. Have you been contacted or you have any similar experience that someone actually asked you to take them to abroad so that they can play football?
First off, let me say good afternoon to every panelist on this session today. A very big topic we have to discuss. I'm excited that we are talking about this right now. So going by what you just asked me, and let me say this, as I'm speaking with you right now, I have a player that was brought to me just 2 weeks ago that the parents and the coach told me, Kenny, you can help us to take this guy to West Bromwich Albion, just 2 weeks ago. Now, before I talk about that, let me also use this medium to say that some of our ex-internationals are also guilty of these trafficking through football and of course through sports. This is what I'm talking about. Just 2 years ago, I will not mention the name of the former international, a very well celebrated Nigerian footballer came to Ibadan here with some company that they partnered together. They organized 1, 2, 3 day whatever open screening trials for footballers here in Ibadan. More than 500 boys registered. They came for it at the Lake Salami Stadium. I can tell you that after that exercise, nothing came out of it. One of the parents came to meet me that they were ready to charge him to court. If not because of some consultations, we had to tell the parents that they should calm down. They should not bring the name of this great, it's a very great footballer in Nigeria, an AFCON winner for the sake of records. But of course, due to some interventions and due to some consultations that we made, we were able to bury that situation that I'm just not to disrespect the beautiful name the ex-international built for himself in his career. Now, this is what I'm talking about. The media, we journalists, number one, just like you said, Mr. Oloshola, we journalists are the first point of call in all of these cases. This parent comes to us, they tell us, can you connect us with this? Can you connect us with that? And going back to what I said earlier, 2 weeks ago, a boy was brought to me by his coach. The coach, I didn't know the coach from anywhere. He brought the boy to me. This boy is a very fantastic footballer. I can play football. I said, okay, I'm not a coach. At least for now, I'm not here to coach. But what I can do is, let me see how good this boy is. Can I see the clips of the games he had played before? They brought the clips to me. I said, I'm still not convinced until I try to link this boy up with one of the best grassroots coaches right here in Ibadan, Oyo State. I can tell everybody listening to me right now that we've made a little progress about this. This boy, by the grace of God, before the end of this year, or hopefully the boy should be leaving Nigeria. Everything sorted. Everything sorted. He's going to West Bromwich Albion as one of their age grade players. Everything is sorted right now. So the truth of the matter is this: just like Mr. Oloshola rightly pointed out, we OAPs are guilty of this. And the ex-internationals, I will keep on saying this, ex-internationals are also part of this syndicate. Some agencies have decided to use their image and their name just to deceive people, all in the name of scouting for talents, and take them outside this country. And I think this is one aspect that we should dwell on, and of course, just try and look into, and just make sure that we don't have things like that repeating itself. That's the part of the ex-internationals that are being used by these agencies or by these syndicates, calling them, deceive them, and just to get money out of them. And now talking about every other thing that I've mentioned, yes, I like the fact that Coach Mansur Abdullahi, he has said a lot. From a coach perspective, he has said a lot. Tolu has said a lot as a journalist himself. I must salute him for the wonderful piece he did some time ago. I also read it. I give him a round of applause for that. And of course, every other people that have spoken about the topic we are discussing today. I enjoyed this session so far.
All right, Ken, we actually enjoyed you as well, because I know the OAPs are always out there, and your program is very popular, and probably you'll start telling the stories with some of your headlines as well. But hold on, I'll still come back to you. Let me quickly do a follow-up on two things you mentioned, that you actually buried the case in quotes now. And Nyabam also buried a certain case. And are we not also supporting or aiding and abetting this human trafficking? Let me talk to the lawyer now. Barrister Victoria Lemilego is ready for us. Have you been approached? I know you're an activist in this line. Have you been approached to bury a case before too as a lawyer? And how do you go about getting conviction for those that are involved, if there is any? Hello, Barrister.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so sorry, I'm on transit. I just left Imo Airport. I hope you will still be able to hear me. This issue touches a very soft point in my system, because when you see what our children are going through in different parts of the world, your heart will bleed. And it's very sad, because definitely with the progress that has been made on football and the achievement of a lot of our players, both past and current, it's a very attractive thing for a parent to hear that, oh, there is an opportunity here and there's an opportunity there, and your child stands a chance. Parents go to several lengths, extreme lengths, sell properties, sell everything they have in order to raise money to send their children to different places, to enhance their opportunities of becoming human beings, not knowing that, of course, they are just enriching unscrupulous individuals who take undue advantage of this situation. And I'm very sorry to say, most times our ex-internationals, people that we regard as our legends, they use their names and their fame and their positions to induce this wickedness being carried out on our football community. That said, in fact, I got a call 2 days ago. A young man I know very well from my area in Abuja was trafficked. Some so-called agents and whoever, they collected huge amounts of money from the parents of about 20 players. And they lodged them into a certain place. After about 1 month, a few matches here and there, the people that brought them disappeared. The people that took them from Nigeria to the hands of somebody that runs somewhere, they kept them right, because these people are extremely smart. They plug all the holes, and you cannot pursue them on hearsay or story, because it can generate. There are so many things. It's really, really very sad.
Barrister. Hello, Barrister, can you hear me? Hello, Barrister.
That is happening.
Hello, Barrister. Can you hear me?
And it's high time we.
Barrister.
Can you hear me? I'm on the road.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? And probably we have to excuse you because your network is not so. Hello, can you hear me? Your network is not so cool, and
I'm
maybe
hearing
when
you, but it's breaking. I'm on the road. That's
okay.
why.
All right, let me just excuse you. We'll get back to you when you are in a better network position. So thank you for your time. And let me bring on board Prince Segun Alade from Turkey. He's based in Turkey, who is joining us. He's also an intermediary. And why Turkey is because the lesser Europe, so to say, is always their target destination. You hear Cambodia, you hear all those names that the players will feel it has a chance. And Turkey has more or less the new mecca of Nigerian footballers. The numbers are endless. So I'm sure Prince Segun Alade will have a lot of insight into this and how we can cover it. Although there will be a second session where there will be testimony from a victim, so everybody can react and they will seek solution from all angles, because a lot of persons have been blamed, though we decided to bury some of the case as well. So some of us are also guilty, but that is by the way. So Prince Segun, welcome on board.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, I'm very glad to be here today. And I would like to say thank you to Mr. Michael Sodeke. He informed me about this program yesterday, and I was like jubilating as though I've won a lottery. Sincerely speaking, Turkey is a red flag for any players from Africa, young player, either from the club side or academy or whatsoever. I've been in Turkey for the past 10 years, and I'm a registered agent, intermediary as well. I played Nigerian league for some years, and I've never transferred any player from Nigeria to Turkey for 10 good years. We have a whole lot of agents that brings players to Turkey in numbers. I'm not talking about 2, 3, 4 players. I'm talking about 25, 30 players as a team. They bring them to Turkey, arrange like 2 or 3 friendly matches with some local teams, maybe super amateur, or even there is another level below super amateur. After 2 or 3 matches, they say, oh, there is nobody here that we can work with, so you guys have to go back. And that will be it. We dump them on the streets, and these boys, we start cater for themselves, looking for means on how to live their life. I have a particular young boy in prison right now. And it is a very sad story. It's one of the, when we are talking about talent, the very young boy, he was around 18. His real age, he was around 18 when he came to Turkey about 4 years ago. Very good player, he have a very good height, shooting accuracy, everything perfect. But the boy is in prison today because he was frustrated and he decided to go into drugs. He was later caught and sentenced for 9 years, 6 months. This boy has been in prison for the past 4 years. There are numbers of young, talented players from Nigeria. And when you have a direct, contact, involvement with these players, you will know exactly how it feels. Each time I talk about this, when I see my brothers on the street of Turkey, it hurt me so deeply. In 2017, I invested a whole lot of money thinking I could change things all alone. I tried to talk to a few people to see what we can do. I bought kids, pay for feed for 2 good years so that these boys can come around, train, and see what we can do to change the story. It's not just about making money, but the evil that dwells in the hearts of people is beyond comprehension. Because I don't see how you will, bring people, your own brothers from your own country, and dump them in a foreign land without any hope or any means of survival. These are players that were supposed to be in Nigerian league. Somebody, Mr. Michael Sudeka sent a video to me yesterday about somebody trying to uncover a kind of player trafficking, and the guy was like blurring his voice and covering his face. That is bullshit. I'm sorry to use that word. This is something that needs to be dealt with. And I'm ready to expose as many as I know that are into this business in Turkey. These have to stop. The clubs, academy in Nigeria are spending money, giving white a lot. I know about 3 to 4 white men in this country that will come to Nigeria, go around academy, some of these clubs, big players. The chairman of those academy will spend the money, give them like 4 or 5 players from each academy. At the end of the day, they'll be coming to Turkey with about 30 or 40 players. And these boys will end up on the street.
Thank you for that insight.
I have a daily interaction with these boys. But in 2019, last year, I had to stop because it was actually affecting me, affecting my family. I could not concentrate. Sometimes paying my rent becomes something I could not, handle properly anymore. I have to give it up. And this is no time for us to start pointing accusing finger who is to blame, who is not to be blamed. The right things have to be put in place to stop this thing before it becomes something else. If you go to Egypt, we have hundreds of Nigerian players on the street. Here in Turkey, go to every country you go to, see Nigerian players on the street. There is this particular guy from UK. He comes to Nigeria, pick players, dump them here in Turkey, and he moves back to UK. We have been working to track him down. I don't know, maybe he have an information. I've notified the police. We are working on getting him down, and any day he gets into Turkey, I'm assuring you, he will be arrested. A strong law needs to be put in place in Nigeria. Look at the clubs in Nigeria. Those that are in Nigeria playing the league, how many of these guys are getting their salaries, their sign-on fee when it's due? How many chairmen in Nigerian clubs have been prosecuted and jailed for not paying these players, for using this money for their own personal gain? So the problem is a very big one that needed to be tackled.
Thank you, Prince Segun Alade. We will tackle the problem. At the same time, we will still look out for who to blame. Once we can get the blame across, then tackling the problem becomes easy. Don't forget, you are still on the virtual sport public debate as organized by Amphidlane Sports, the host through Ambassador Michael Shodeket, and the topic remains human trafficking through football. Who is to be blamed? Everybody has spoken. All our debaters have really contributed from different angles, but there is this, those people from NIDCOM, Nigerians in diasporas, they have to take care of the spiral effect when our players are stranded, when our young boys and girls are stranded in the name of playing football, they've been trafficked. So I want to bring on Abiodun Akanbi. He is the Assistant Chief Program Officer of Programs Development Department at the Nigeria in Diaspora Commission. Are you ready for us, Akanbi Abiodun? If you can hear me, just wave your hand, Akanbi. All right. Okay, Prince Alade mentioned of some players stranded, some are in prison, and the stories are almost the same everywhere. Is there any official correspondence on your desk about Nigerian players being trafficked and are stranded anywhere in abroad?
Well, thank you very much. It's so nice to be here. My name is Akanbi Abiodun once again, and I am representing my boss, Honorable Abike Dabiri-Erewa, the Chairman, CEO, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission. And it's a great privilege to be here. I've heard a lot since the beginning of the program, everybody talking, agents, intermediaries, players, coaches, and all that. And the question is, the topic we are discussing here today is, who is to blame for trafficking in football? My response, first and foremost, is that everybody is to blame and nobody is to blame. Why did I say so? We have heard a coach speak today. We have heard the agents. We have heard the intermediary, even parents. We all know all these things. The parents are interested in becoming the next parents to another JJ Okocha, another Mikel Obi, another wonderful players. And anytime this opportunity comes, they jump at it. They sell houses, farmlands, properties, just for them to be able to have their children over there in Europe to play football. Likewise, the players, they are interested. They even want to lobby their ways to make sure they get a slot to travel abroad. Likewise, the coaches, they want to make money. Agents want to make money. The reason why I said everybody is to blame is, morally speaking, because we are not speaking the truth. And I want to commend the last speaker who spoke from Turkey. A lot has happened. A lot has happened concerning this trafficking in football. And not even in football alone, in some other aspects of human endeavor. Everybody is to blame because all of us have not spoken the truth. And nobody is to blame because of the frustration in the land, the socio-economic hardship, frustration concerning unemployment, frustration concerning good governance, insecurity, policy insensitivity, policy inconsistency. Everybody wants to cut corner. Everybody wants to make money. And that is why everybody is looking for one way or the other, and everybody is not speaking the truth. And the truth of the matter is the government has a lot to do concerning it. It's a big, big problem. The government has a lot to do, or else this will become it has even become a serious menace to our society. Why did I say so? Let me just give you an example. During 20 years ago, when the issue of HIV/AIDS came on board, you will agree with me that government was all out there, singing the song to everybody's ears. Don't do this, because everybody is vulnerable to HIV/AIDS. I just want to digress a little. Everybody has to be on their toes. Don't engage in unprotected sex activities. Don't engage in blood transfusion that is not screened. Don't engage in sharing razor and all that with anybody, because everybody is vulnerable. HIV/AIDS is no respecter of anybody. Government came out to sensitize, to educate the general public about the dangers of HIV. Likewise, COVID, we have all seen it this year. Government has come out to say, wear your mask, no masks, no entry, please wash your hands and all that, because COVID is no respecter of anybody. Be it age, be it race, be it color, be it social status and all that. Everybody is vulnerable. That is the reason why I said the government has a lot to do in curbing this menace called trafficking in football and even any form of trafficking. And that is why my boss, Honorable Abike Dabiri-Erewa, is always preaching the gospel when it comes to migration. If you must migrate, migrate right. If you must migrate, if you must travel, travel legally. Why do we have to say travel legally? When you traffic people, I've heard a lot of coaches talk here and agents and all that. There's one particular thing they are not telling the people, because they are interested in their money. Do they tell them, do they have a plan B for them when you travel all these kids abroad for football? What I mean by plan B is, what if the trials don't go well? What happens next? What if in the course of your trials, you get injured? What happens next? What if you get to Europe and the environment is not conducive? The weather is so bad for you that you can't even kick the ball. What happens to you? You would not want to come back home because your parents have invested so much. You would not want to come back home. What next? What next did they do? They start mixing their legs to their faith. They start mixing with wrong influence, bad peer group influence. They start engaging in some other things that is inimical to their well-being. In June this year, I came up with a proposal, and I tagged it. It has to do with this trafficking, and I tagged it "Catch Them Young." Catch them young in this sense is not discovering talents early enough. Catch them young, my own catch them young is about telling the people, the citizens, what they need to know before they are trafficked out of the country. Because of the fact that once they are trafficked out and something goes wrong, coming back, they will become a menace to this society. Let me give you an example. Last year, during the xenophobic attack in South Africa, over 800, my commission, Honorable Abike Dabiri, was involved in bringing so many people back home from South Africa. Can I shock you? 6 weeks after they got into this country, we got an information that 2 of them were involved in armed robbery attacks somewhere in the southeast. Why? They have become a menace to this society because they have found out that they can't survive here. There's nothing to do here. Those people who have master's degree don't even have employment. Talk less of somebody who has spent 10 years, 8 years abroad and has now come back home empty-handed. What are they here to do? So they have come back and they have become menace to this society. 4 weeks after we brought those people back from South Africa, we found out that some of them have even found their way back to South Africa because the environment here is not conducive for them. That is why the government has a lot to do in sensitizing and educating its citizens on the dangers. The agents, the intermediaries, the coaches, we only tell them the good aspects. You want to go to Europe, it's going to be a fantastic experience. You're going to do, but they're not telling them the truth that there are dangers there. If you get there and things don't go wrong, you will have to be on your own. So though that is the reason.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Abiodun.
Okay.
And you've actually made all the points. Okay. But you said you don't want to blame anyone. Eventually, I can deduce that the government takes larger share of your blame. And it's part of what we are looking at. So thank you for your time. We will be coming back after this break for the second session where we will listen to testimony from a victim and we'll take reactions from that. Then there will be solutions because with my summary here is that the government have been blamed, the players himself or ourselves have been blamed as well. The coaches that refuse to speak the truth have been blamed. The parents too for too desperate to just support and go have been blamed as well. The intermediaries, some of them even blame their colleagues, while some of them even aided in a way the operation by trying to let go of someone that has been confirmed to be a trafficker. So all of these things, everybody is to be blamed at the end. And I refuse to subscribe to the second part of Mr. Abiodun's submission that no one is to be blamed. Everybody has to be blamed, including government, the intermediary, and everyone involved. The OAP too. So everybody should be blamed. So when we come back, we'll start looking at solutions, reactions to the testimony from a victim. Then we'll take another break for question and answer and matters arising. Then we'll take a final statement from everyone that has contributed as a debater. So give us your time, make yourself comfortable for the next 10 minutes. We will come back after this break. Don't forget it is still the unpaid lane sports virtual debate on human trafficking through football. Who is to be blamed? All right, and it's about time for us to make a return. Our 10 minutes break is over, so everybody should be ready for us to get back to the subject matter, which is still the human trafficking through football. Who is to be blamed? My name is Olushola Adebayo, a sports commentator, content provider. I am the CEO and the editor at Sports Peda Media. Presently, I present Nigeria Sports Express on Jordan 105.5 FM in Lagos. I also present Sports Lounge on Ray Power Network, and I have the compliment of learned debaters from Lerina Bright to Coach Abdullahi, Mansur, Tolu Olasoji, Reverend Emmanuel, Iseri, Ogbemudia, Akanbi Abiodun, Barista Victoria Ilemigo, Kenny Ogumilor, and Prince Shegun Alade from Turkey. All right, so we had our first session. If you are joining us, we are going in straight to the second session where we have a testimony from a victim. The video will be played from the host end. I'm sure everybody can watch and listen to the testimony from that victim. It has been put as anonymous because the agent that took him on that white goose chase journey abroad might be watching as well. So we don't want to put the ball in any form of danger while we try to sort solutions to the issue of human trafficking. And so we watch, then we'll wait for your reactions as well. Then we'll seek solutions from all angles. Michael Shodek, are you ready for us? Are you ready for us? Or mute your mic so we can speak. Michael, can you wave your hand and see whether we can get a video so everybody can just watch? Okay. So the video from your end, can everyone see the video from your end?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, the video, is it, can we watch now?
All right.
Okay, once you are set for us with the video, can we watch online now? All right, that's the video. I'm sure we actually have to do it that way so that the player's identity can be protected, because the agent might also be watching. So in order for him to be safe, we have to actually commend you for coming out to say stories. Not every one of those victims can come out and tell their story, because they are sometimes being threatened as well. So this is part of the whole issues that we have on our hands on human trafficking through football. All right, let's begin to take this home. Let's take reactions from Lerina Bright. Lerina, are you with me? Hello,
Yes.
Lerina. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure you saw the video, and you have to put anonymous.
Yeah.
They have your organization. How is it poised to help these victims for them to be reintegrated without any form of victimization or attack from their traffickers?
So just to give you, some idea of the work that we have done most recently, particularly during this COVID period, we were approached through one of our interlocutors and partners in Istanbul by a footballer, a trafficked footballer, who is part of a community of footballers in Turkey, saying that they didn't have any they didn't have any access to food, they didn't have any access to sanitary supplies, so basic necessities during this COVID period, they were completely without. And so what we did at that point was because I know that there's a lack of understanding anyway about this issue in the country and in Turkey, but of course, obviously globally. So what we did is we organized a roundtable that brought together the victim and brought together also a community leader who I believe is from Nigeria. He's the president of the African football community or something similarly named. And we also brought together the municipality. So there was a representative from the Istanbul municipality. There was a representative also from the media. And we discussed, and so this, the victim had the possibility to explain, what had been going on, what are some of the challenges that they're facing. And what was the result of that roundtable, because everything, for us, whenever we bring people together, there has to be a tangible result. It's not to come and talk and then move on to something else, or it's all, there's always a very tangible call to action. And and by the way, Galatasaray Football Club was also present as well. So the outcome of that was that the municipality said that they would then provide, they would include a budget to help the migrant community with some programs that would better help them socially integrate into the community. So that could include language courses, some vocational skills training. And actually that is on my list of things to do before the end of the year, following up with that municipality to make sure that they actually move forward with what they had promised during that roundtable, which took place about 4 months ago. Finally, I mean, of course, Turkey is also unique in the sense that they have very lax visa permit rules, so it's easier for people to get permits, visas to enter the country. And then, of course, they're between Asia and Europe. And that puts them in a central position. But unfortunately, most of the time, they get stuck in Turkey. And then, of course, they also have these new regulations that have been put in place, the football regulations, whereby, from what I understand, it really limits the possibility for footballers that are not coming from already established, organized footballing matches to compete in the league, which then makes it very difficult for those that have gone there specifically to pursue a career to actually do what they went there to do. So that's just some of what we have been doing, which is making sure, trying to bring tangible solutions to the community, to migrant communities.
Thank you, Lerina. We still have another testimony from another victim, and the person is online with us. Folaon, are you there? Folaon, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. So it's better you go audio so that you won't just be exposed unnecessarily. In a few minutes, can you share your experience with us?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Folaon. It is really a very, very sad experience because I cannot go into every detail. But what I'll let
you can summarize when, how, and what happened. You
Okay,
understand? When, how, and what happened?
It happened in 2016. So we're told we're gonna get a better chance of playing in a particular country, but we'll have to go by transit, then we'll get to Cape Verde first. So at first, due to, I think, the rise in dollar then, they gave us a story, we'll have to change the money in CFA, we'll go to Senegal first, then from there we can fly. And checking that story, flying through Senegal was cheaper and everything. So we all agreed and it happened. But on getting to Cape Verde, we noticed the country we're promised is actually a lie because one, if truly we're going to go through that place, the way things are going, it doesn't look possible and there's no possibility in it. So all of a sudden, the man said he's going back to Nigeria to prepare some other documents. Then, to my surprise, he went to Nigeria and came back with more players. And they started questioning me like, is it true we are going to go to this particular country? I said, you met us here and it's the same story this man told us. So why haven't we left? Why are more players coming in? Then I started raising questions and some players, to my surprise, were opposing me because they felt maybe I'm going to spoil the dream and everything. And I was like, see, this is looking so blind. So along the line, I went online and started checking on some people. That's how I met Mr. Michael Shodeke. And at first, this is what I'll let most players know. When they want to traffic you, most times, you would be taken to a country where they don't speak English. So you would not find it easy to communicate with people in that country. So along the line, I tried learning the language. I learned in about 6 months. I could basically communicate and say how I felt and everything. Talking to Mr. Michael Shodeke, I knew I had to leave that country. And one, Nigeria doesn't have an embassy there. So the first thing I did is I went to the police. That this is the situation and everything. So it came out to become a very big story because the immigration were alerted and they back-checked the day we came into the country and everything checked out. This is another thing you need to know about people who traffic players. They use multiple passports. The man left his Nigerian passport and traveled with a Cape Verdean passport that is having another name, not the same Nigerian name. So I made Mr. Michael Shodeke know what was happening, although I played a season there or two because I can't just be there and be doing nothing. So he asked me about the remaining players. I told him, okay, I told him some are willing to come back home. Some said no, that the man promised them Europe again from Cape Verde. So we tried our best and all, but they were not willing to come back. And talking to Mr. Michael, he made me understand that, see, the first thing you have to do is you have to go back to your country. You are still a very young player. You have years ahead of you. Don't stay stranded in another man's country. It is better you sort it out and leave that country than remain there, hoping for better, because that better might never come.
Falau, let me get this. How many years or months did you stay in Cape Verde?
I stayed 2 years.
2 years play under his watch, or you actually abandoned the rest of the guys and you went on your own?
Not under his watch, because after we reported at the police, so they had to fix me into a team at least. play, get paid, and just be able to sort yourself. But unfortunately, so many other players went into other things. I can vividly say some are into drugs right now, and
they abandoned their dream.
yes, they did.
So you are back now. Is there any link between you and the so-called agent after you realize you've liberated yourself and you are back in Nigeria?
Yeah, I've tried contacting him so many times, but he's always on the run because I think he's scared maybe I am coming back to get him and report to the police or charge to court.
Do you know whether he's serious with that business?
Yes, he is, because recently I heard he promised some players USA.
Wow. All right, do you have anything to share with us?
Yeah.
From your experience in the Cape Verde, you are promised which country before you landed in Cape Verde?
Brazil.
Wow, what a journey. Is there any other thing, or is that all?
Yeah. The thing is, one thing I want everyone on the platform to understand is players who get trafficked, they want a better life for themselves because some are from a very, very poor background, and the parents want better life for their children. And also our football in Nigeria needs to be upgraded, because how many times do you hear a player from England gets trafficked? Everything is okay there. You can't just traffic a player from England because they get to play good football already in England. So if the standard in Nigeria can be raised a bit, so many players will be willing to play here.
Probably you also want to answer the question, who are you going to blame for this?
Everybody has a take in the blame, but to be honest, I'll blame the players more a little because we are always more anxious and we are not ready to do our background check properly. So these days, once anybody approaches me, I do my background check before I can even say anything. Then I tell them, okay, the moment you tell them, speak to so person, maybe an agent, like an intermediary, like Mr. Michael Shodeke, you see them, they'll tell you, no, they are not willing to speak to anybody, then that's a red flag.
All right. I'm sure you are enjoying your game in Nigeria now, or you are still aiming to go abroad?
I'm enjoying, and we're hoping for better. Mr. Michael was working on a lot of things, but due to COVID and also I have to stay back, but hoping for the better version. All
right, thank you. And that's Folaon, a player that was once trafficked. So we are looking at his experience. I'm sure we must have picked one or two things from that. And how do you react as a journalist to Tolu Olasoji? Tolu? Are you there, Tolu?
Yeah, I'm here.
Tolu? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm sure that's a story for a journalist. How do you react to stories like this?
Yeah, I like the fact that it's been truthful, because the thing is, we blame everyone and then leave the footballers out to most times, right? And I got approached by a footballer in some countries like that, and it basically walked into the situation, and then he's trying to detach himself from the situation and stuff like that. So I told him he has to come clean, and then he wasn't willing to come clean because coming clean would actually jeopardize his chances there, and then he'll probably find himself back home. So I like the fact that here's one thing I aim to do as a journalist. I try to make everything as nuanced as possible, look at every angle, and because some players actually do not want to do the background check because they are just desperate. They kind of like know when, some of them know when something is wrong, but they feel, well, when I get out of the country, then I still have hope to find my ground and stuff like that. So I like the fact that he's being truthful, and then you understand the fact that football players are also complicit in some cases.
All right. Emmanuel, Nyabam, we are itching. Let me get back to Nyabam. He's really ready to say something.
Well, first and foremost, for everybody listening, NAPTIP, that is specifically now for Nigeria, NAPTIP has a hotline. I'm going to give
what
the
is
number.
NAPSIT for the sake of everyone? What is NAPSIT?
Oh God, one moment, sir. NAPTIP is the organization set up by the federal government that handles National Anti-Trafficking Agency. Yes.
For trafficking in
Okay.
persons. Yeah.
Okay. So their
Trafficking,
number,
yes.
just call the
National
number.
Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking Persons and Other Related Matters.
Thank you very much, sir. So it's easier, you see, when you're dealing with issues of trafficking. For instance, when I meet young players.
Go further. You want to mention a number that someone can call?
Okay, let me give the helpline. 070 30,000 203. 070 30,000 203. That's the helpline number. They have a secondary helpline number, which is 080 call NAPTIP. 080 call NAP. Now, about a couple years back, we actually, I'm going to text it when I stop talking, but I'm going to put the helpline on the chat. A few years ago, one player contacted NAPTIP through this helpline and was connected with MICAT and CLAPAI. MICAT is actually headquartered in South Africa. They have helped to reintegrate that footballer with his family here in Nigeria. MICAT has a safe home in Abuja. We do skill acquisition trainings to find ways of reintegrating players, because like my brother from the Diaspora Commission spoke, we have to give young players alternatives in case football doesn't work. I'm one who football did not work for. I got injured. I was 1 week shy of moving to Real Madrid and ended up coming back home. So these are things that we must pay attention to as a people. We cannot pretend that these things are not happening. Again, when we're dealing with issues of trafficking, I'm very excited about Folan. He is very secured about his person. He is protective about his own internal security. You must have internal security, because let me tell you, the world of trafficking is very dangerous. It's the second highest crime. Drugs is first, followed by human trafficking. So these guys are not, they don't let down. The guy he's dealing with is actually a small fish in the industry. They are bigger fishes. These guys don't let down. They are connected to the highest authorities. So before you break them down, you have to have gotten all the evidence in place. There are movies. MICAT has partnered with other organizations to do a few movies. We're planning to do one with regards to football. Of human trafficking. What we can do is raise more awareness. I'm glad that you and other OPACs are raising awareness. It's actually helping to change the dynamics. For us as an organization, we've decided to go back to the school because most of these kids are within school age. So it's easier to do that. We believe in the peer training system, peer education training system. So each one tell one. It is safer for one child to tell another child about trafficking and keep that child safe from traffic. So this is what we pay attention to. We do what is called traffic proofing, and I did that here. And unfortunately, my own client fell for it, Mansur. But you see, it's not to put anybody down. There are several people that raised up their hands. That's how easy it is to traffic. They always have a catch. So they will try to trick you. They will transport you. Fola was transported to Cape Verde. He was smart enough to realize that, look, we're told we're going somewhere. I've noticed over time that when players come to me and tell me, oh, this agent is talking to me, a lot of players within the Nigerian system come to me and talk. We have names now. We're circling down on these quacks. Very soon we will catch a few of them. I cannot put out that detail right now here, but we are getting more and more information. Now, once you hear that you're going to travel, say, Bulgaria, and they tell you have to go to Egypt first, bros, sister, slow. There's something going on
And
that is involved.
I want to test slow too. And let me bring Prince Shegunalade into this. You said you've been in Turkey for the past 10 years. You've not bring any players into Turkey from Nigeria, and you are on ground as a big agent or intermediary out there. What are and I've seen players even last week travel to Turkey. I'm actually looking at for you to have stopped for the past 10 years and you are in your job, you're entitled to do that job. What are those things that are your fears with players coming from Nigeria to Turkey, and what are the solutions you want to profile so that at least you are sure that Turkey is not safe for players from Nigeria? You establish that. So what are the solutions you want to profile? Let's start bring everything to the solutions now. Unmute Prince Shegunalade, we couldn't hear you.
Yeah, let me respond to the issue of not bringing players for the past 10 years. The issue is we have enough player right here on ground. So if I really want to move any players to club, it shouldn't be from Nigeria anymore, which you take from the abundance we have in Turkey, and which I did.
You mean Nigerians in Turkey?
Yes, we have a whole lot of them, and which I've been doing.
That are jobless.
Jobless, and they're very good. I sent a player to Dennis Lispor, a Super League. After everything has been concluded, I contacted the chairman of the academy the guy came from in Nigeria, and everything went well. But a few weeks later, the players turned against me, and it was like, I don't want a black manager to manage me or to work with a Turkish man. But that will not stop me. That's what I've been doing. Now, the solution to this problem, this is my own opinion. The academies in Nigeria, I mean the clubs across the country, maybe a kind of circular should be sent across to the coaches and the chairman of the club. Now, any player coming to Turkey for a trial, the name of the club, the contact person of the club, then an inquiries can be sent out there to be sure that these clubs actually invited this player for a trial. And the Nigeria Football Federation have a lot of work to do as well. If they can put up a kind of, a kind of partnership with Turkish embassy before any Turkish visa will be issued to any players going to Turkey, the NFF should be aware of it, okay, before any visa should be issued to any player. I have a colleague here too, Mr. Adebayo. He has been spent just the same thing I was doing. This is the same thing this other guy, this man here, has been doing. He has been spending auction. He's running an academy here too, bringing some of these players together, forming a team, sponsoring and all kind of stuff. So if something like that can come up before any player jet out of Nigeria, in fact, at the airport, there should be a serious screening of young player coming to Turkey or any young person coming to Turkey from Nigeria. Why is it coming? What is it coming to do?
When you say young, can you put an age?
Between age 18 to 22, 23.
Okay.
Because anybody around 25, 24, 25, 26 is out of it already. Because the age group they are looking at is between 17, 18 to 22 years. And you see some of these guys at age of 23, 24, 25, 26, they are still coming to Turkey. So basically, they are coming to either join a cargo company, or they start picking, or they go into drugs, or they go into 419.
All right, yes, your solution is well spelled out. You actually mentioned the embassy and the NFF. Let me bring in Kenny Ogumiloro. Kenny, are you there for us? Kenny Ogumiloro. Kenny. Kenny, good afternoon. Okay, since Kenny is not ready for us, okay, let me go straight to Coach Mansur. Coach Abdullahi Mansur, yeah, he mentioned the NFF. You've worked with the NFF before, and he also mentioned the academies. As a solution, what roles do you think these two bodies can play in getting sure that players will not be trafficked?
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a great time. I want to sincerely appreciate you for organizing such kind of a thing. It's a very magnificent, very beneficial. I sympathize, I feel for those victims. To be sincere, candid, I think NFF are not yet ready for Nigerian football. NFF are ready for Nigerian football. A lot of things need to be done. Recently, some of us can remember vividly the issue of TMS paying money into individual accounts. I remember in 2009, the Nigerian Football Federation bring out a guideline for an academy, a standard academy. What an academy is supposed to have before they can be allowed to be called as an academy. Today, none of those academy, many of those academy in Nigeria don't have any standard to set up. We just have quack coaches, quack administrators leading the game. NFF have a lot of things to do. They need to have a department or a unit that has just to do with youth players traveling. When I say youth players traveling, it's different from the league players. Just like a brother who is in Turkey have made it clearly, he has been there spending a good amount of money. I don't want to share my experience in 2012 when I went to Azerbaijan, when I went to the World Cup with the female under-17. I met a lot of Nigerian players there whom I've been. One of the agents was even taken to prison. Name Ochuko. We heard what Kenny said. A lot of ex-internationals caused a lot of problems. I know many of them, and I have solved a lot of problems. I came in as a mediator in many of those problems. So back to the question, Nigerian Football Federation needs to do a lot of things. And it's just like what I was saying, Nigerian Football Federation have, how many coaches do we have in that department? So they need to have a department that has to do with movement of this main place out of this country. Then if that is being secured, then you can't believe that recently I had a case whereby about 25 people didn't appear in an embassy. They just get a appearance. No, for the Nigerian Football Federation, the national teams, when they are traveling, they must appear in the embassy. So a lot of things need to be done in order to save these children, need to save these. In future, they can come in the Okota or the next Mikel Obi. My brother, just yesterday, Nigerian women league kick off. If I ask this question, when is Nigeria Premier League going to start? Nobody can tell us. So which means under the leadership of Mr. Amaju Melvin Pinnick, have a lot of these things done. Like they are taking us backward about 40 years backward where we are today. And I think just like every other speakers have said, it's a job that everybody have a role to play. I have a role to play, you have a role to play, they have a role to play. I think so that other people can also contribute their own.
Thank you, Mansur Abdullahi. Coach, you actually mentioned the NFF and the league. I think at the very top, where you are playing the Nigeria Professional Premier League, that's the very top. Let me look at from the grassroots and bring in Eddie Iseri Ogbemudia if Eddie is ready for us. Eddie Iseri Ogbemudia, are you there? My question is this: there's this group of intermediaries in Nigeria. Can they really work with the academies? Because it seems the academies is the most target in this place. Can we really, can the agents or the intermediary work with the academies so that the education can start from down up instead of waiting for the MPFL? Because most of these players, if you ask them, they don't even want to play the MPFL. They just want to train at home and straight to the UK, the EPL. But does it really work that way? It has never worked that way. But can we work? Can the intermediaries, I know they have a job to do, they want money. Are they willing to work? You have your friends working, are they willing to work with this academy so that the education starts from that very bottom to the top? Is Eddie Ogbemudia is there? Since Eddie is not ready, okay, Eddie, can you get my question? Wave your hand. Let me see if you are there. All right. I said your people, the intermediaries, they like money, and it's their job. No problem. They can make more money. But are they willing to work with the academies as part of ways to minimize young footballers being trafficked? Because I think that is where you have the bulk of these guys that really want to go and really willing to work with the academy in terms of educating, enlightening, and stuff like that.
All right, thank you very much. Personally, I think the agency I work with, Myron Topclass Sport Outfit, we represent a lot of academics in Nigeria. And one thing we actually take upon ourselves is to educate both the management and the players of the academies we represent. And we actually take time to inform them of some of the red flags as it relates to trafficking. You know, one thing I want to, just before I digress, one thing I want to appeal, if it's possible, especially the government agencies that are here, when we see people that are successfully prosecuted and the case actually confirmed that they were involved in human trafficking, I think it's important that they begin to display their photos in a dedicated website and other information concerning them, because by the time we let them go, you know, criminals, they always go back to that same business they usually do again. So by the time we begin to display their photographs and their information, so that by the time they get another suspecting victim, the person can just go to that website to reconfirm if that person is involved or is among the syndicate that have been involved in series of trafficking. So for collaboration between intermediaries and academies, you know, for now, intermediary, like the last time I checked, intermediary that have been registered in Nigeria alone by the NFF, there are over 300. But I tell you, we have over 1,000 persons parading themselves as football agents and intermediaries that are not registered or recognized by the NFF. And some of them are pulling some deal through. So by the time you see them pulling some deal through, some of these academies would rather want to deal with those scammers, let me use that word, because they believe they can do something. And some even, you know, one thing that even baffles me is that some of them, they contact these academies and these players via social media. They will send an email or they will just send, I have this deal, please send. I get series of email almost on a dose in a month. Talking about offers, I will just respond, I'm not interested. You know, one other thing you need to understand is that for academies and intermediaries, sometimes this contact may not come directly from a registered intermediary. So you can go further to go and check. You know, with the advent of the 21st century, websites, almost all the clubs all over the world, they have websites. You can go and check to reconfirm the management status of whoever that signed that document. And in most cases, I have found out that in most cases, there are different information. The phone numbers on those invitations are different from the phone numbers on the contact information of those websites of those clubs. So those are some of the red flags you need to know that these people that I want to deal with, they are not genuine persons. Because ordinarily, a normal standard football club, the scouts that they are sending out to go and scout for players are being the bill are being footed by the clubs. So those scouts will not ask you to do any other payment. So I really don't see a possibility of that collaboration now because number one, the intermediaries, the academies and the intermediaries, they really do not have a viable bodies that we can say, okay, this body can stand in collaboration with the academic bodies because we have series of association, but we really can't say that it covers almost 90% of the total number of the people that are involved. Just like the Nigeria Bar Association, we can say, okay, they have a voice, but we still have some lawyers in Nigeria that are not members of the Nigeria Bar Association, but at least to some extent, we know that majority of those that are practicing lawyers in Nigeria, they are part of the Nigeria Bar Association. So for the academies, we really do not have an association like that we can collaborate with because if we say, okay, individually, intermediaries, I know a lot of them, they interact with the academies they represent and also try to educate them to know some of the risks that are involved in the business that they are doing. Some of them, they don't even know what's up about the business. Some people just open academy because they are passionate about football. They just throw in money. They don't even think about the business aspect. Theirs is just to throw in money and it is heard, oh, I'm an agent or I own an academy, I play football. But they really don't take time to go further to take advantage of the business aspect of it. So it's very difficult to really say, okay, this is a body we can hold or interact with. I think that is where a major challenge is. So you see this about awareness, like my fellow intermediaries here, if you are representing clubs, it's very important over time you educate your clients and you educate over time. I always put up seminars for my clients and their players. With that, I'm very sure they will be abreast of happenings around them. And one thing I want to also say before I drop is that you need to build a level of trust. Your pedigree is very important. If you are someone that is having a questionable character as an intermediary, you know, whatever you are trying to sell to others, they won't really believe you. So that is just it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And I'm sure you've been able to pick some of the solutions there. So let me go to the aspect of the law. Barrister Victoria, let me go. I'm sure you are ready for us now. Barrister Victoria.
I'm here.
All right, now we are looking at solutions, and but for us to deter others, the laws must be there to actually punish adequately. Do you have laws in Nigeria that is adequate to take care of measurable punishment for anyone that is involved in human trafficking through football?
Well, Nigeria is a country, and we have adequate laws for practically everything. Despite the limitations we encounter with the legal system against sport and football issues, it's very important to know that once there is a crime, there is a law that will prosecute the criminal. And we should not limit ourselves. It's very sad what is going on, but there are definitely laws, but there are rooms for improvement as well, because certain areas have scanty laws that can actually get a criminal down on his knees. So there are needs for us to improve on those. But right now, definitely anyone that is found wanting in these areas of trafficking through sport can also be brought under existing child trafficking laws and all that. Definitely, there we have laws that can handle it. But just like we have laws for everything, most of the time, so many challenges appear that aid the criminal. So when we have technicalities that cannot really support the victim, the problems are there. So the most important aspect of this, while talking about the laws, is to ensure that there is maximum advocacy, is to ensure a synergy between the stakeholders to ensure that these things are limited. Because even as we speak now, it is happening. It's happening every day, everywhere. People making these children parents dry and then going to abandon them in horrible places. So what do we do immediately to at least cushion some of these harms? What do we do immediately to prevent this from continuing to escalate? Let us go into advocacy. Let us, synergize all the people that have one thing or the other to do with academies, whether they own them or they don't own them. Let us synergize and start hitting the ground running with activities that will open the eyes of everybody to ensure that, we limit the harms being perpetrated. There are laws, yes, but the most effective way would be first to start with advocacy. Go to schools, go to these academies, go look for the children, talk to parents, organize, events, seminars, conferences, and appeal to the conscience of those who really want to drain the blood of others in search of becoming rich and famous. So there are laws, definitely, but the laws can be improved.
All right. And talking about taking it from the law to advocacy, let me bring on Kenny Ogumiloro. Kenny, Kenny, are you there? Can you hear me clearly? All right, Kenny. Being an OAP, let's look at it from that angle of you telling the story. How can you use your position? Hello, Kenny. Are you there? How can you use your position as a very influential OAP to sensitize and conscientize parents and the young ones about the dangers and the red flags involved, or those things they need to look out for when anyone approaches them to come and play football abroad, or when they have that self-ambition of going abroad? Hello, Kenny. Kenny Ogumiloro, can you, Michael, give Kenny the mic. Let's have Kenny's input now.
Kenny is not online.
Okay. It's all right, because I saw him online and I think he's ready for it. All right, let me throw back to Emmanuel and Nyabam. Emmanuel, you covered everywhere. You are very close to those in power, but the NF, it seems they are interested in signing the documents for players to go abroad because there will be some kind of money into the purse, and our league has been in comatose for years. We just celebrate the little we have. How can you use your influence to bring this discussion to the notice and tell them what to do? What will you be telling them?
Well, first and foremost, I'll be telling the Federation that, like Coach Mansur earlier stated, a complete department needs to be created for youth travels. Authentically, I've spoken with Nasser on this before.
Nasru Jibril, who is head of the TMS and also international transfers at who is below 17 is either that child is going to school or the academy is taking care of the school process for that child. So, but we have a lot of our youth living here, and I'm told they are going for trials and all that. I'm aware that the quacks dodge the issues because you're supposed to get a clearance from the federation before you even travel out with those players. So when we contact players who have been traveled out like this, what we try to do is get them back within a semblance of a system. There's a network of coaches, network of club owners that is growing within Africa, which is championing the protection of the rights of our young kids. Now, it is still in its embryonic stage, so I cannot say further than what I've said so far about it. But the organization is working assiduously to make sure that these sort of children could be protected. I know for a fact that when Michael Sodeke was the chairman for Football Intermediaries Association of Nigeria, there was an advocacy raised, especially after our visit with the German embassy, that we get ourselves organized to the point that no player travels out of Nigeria without an intermediary signature, so that if there's any issues, it can be traced back and traced how that player got out of the country, because that is a way of clamping down. We started a discourse. Some of our members started a discourse with Mama Abike Dabiri, and we have, as an association, failed. I must apologize to all Nigerians and to Africans because we are the leaders. We're the giants of Africa. We have failed. That includes Eddie and Michael, who are actually founders of that association. Eddie has abandoned ship, and I'm hoping that after this meeting, he will return and let's get back the glory of that fledgling association, which was shaping directions. Right now, we have a rudderless system in place. That's actually affecting our capacity to make the change. I will stop here so that others can speak, but would end by saying each one tell one is the fastest way of passing the message. The Federation, as far as I'm concerned, there's so many failings on all fronts. And players who pass out of our system without going through the proper channels, that money it goes back to the Federation when it comes, the transfer issues, compensation issues, and it ends up in the Federation. So even the Federation is complacent, bottom line, as Coach Mansur said. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And once the money comes back, who is in charge of the Prog and how the money is being used? So if nobody is asking those questions and the money is going, then it's more or less like we may not be able to stop the illegal migration of players from Nigeria to all of those countries. So the government...
Sorry, sir. That's why I said to you, sorry, that's a quick word. That's why I said to you that even FIFA as the parent body is involved, because these monies are returned to the Federation. It should not come to the Federation because it's supposed to be helping the grassroots development. It does not help the grassroots development. It's within the Federation, it is gulped away. So this money should not even be released until they can trace it down. That way, even our children are trafficked, we can trace who trafficked them and all. The FIFA itself is complacent with its own system.
So as part of the solutions, we have to involve the NF.
They have to
no matter
rejig.
what.
They have to rejig. We have to rejig. FIFA needs to rejig its system right from top to bottom. If not, this will continue. Within the system, there are loopholes that allow this. If there's a, for instance, let's assume the player is with my academy, an academy I partner with, or I am the agent of such an academy, and some fraudulent agent moves the player out of the system, but it is traced on his transfer, his player's passport that, oh, he was in this team. Now, if there is no documentation within the system here, that money is sent to the federation, and within the federation is gulped away. Now, don't ask me who is gulping the money. I have a pending case. I have a pending case right now.
Don't worry, I won't ask you. Put your mind at rest. Then you can then go and win your case. But let me ask. I'm not asking you. You can off your mic. Let me ask Akanbi Abiodun from NIDCOM, Nigeria in Diaspora Commission. What the kind of solution we can expect, or those things in place, or that will be put in place by NIDCOM, probably working with the embassies or working with the National Orientation Agency. I don't know how they want to go about it, in bringing all of these things that we've discussed as solutions out there, so that the parents and the kids or the players can know, because once they don't patronize these people, I want to believe the art will die naturally, and those fake agents will run out of business naturally. Akanbi, are you there with us? Akanbi Abiodun from NIDCOM, are you there?
Yeah. Thank you very much, my brother. It's been so wonderful listening to all the speakers talking about the solutions and all that. And I want to use this opportunity to commend the MPIL Lane Sports for organizing an event like this. It's been so informative and educative. Like I said earlier, government has to do a lot by sensitizing and educating citizens about the dangers, not only the good aspect of it, about the dangers of trafficking. And my commission is always there for collaboration with viable sporting agencies like Hanfeed in making irregular migration regular. Madam Abike Dabiri is a very strong and vibrant woman who has done a lot for this country, and she's in touch with some Nigerians in diaspora who are willing to give back to the society, who are even in the sports world. Masai Ujiri, the president of Toronto Raptors, is a very close friend and friend of the house. Anthony Joshua in boxing, all of them are always talking to Honorable Abike Dabiri. We want to come back home. We want to establish some very viable academies so that they can give back to the society that brought them up. So in all these areas, we are willing to partner. And like you said, one other area that I think my agency is working towards this trafficking issue we're talking about is we have almost all the security agencies in our office. We have their desk. We have Interpol desk in NIDCOM. We have my immigration desk in NIDCOM, where very senior officers in police, in immigration, in NIA, in DSS are seconded to NIDCOM to help us tackle whatever complaints Nigerians in Diaspora Commission have from over there. As we know, our main mandate is to harness the talent, the skills, the resources of Nigerians in diaspora to enable them contribute their quota towards the socio-economic and the political development of Nigeria. So we have a lot of complaints. We have a lot of petitions coming in every day. Oh, I'm in Turkey, I'm in so place, I'm in Kuwait, I'm in Yemen, I'm in America, my passport has been missing, or my passport has been seized, so those are the inquiries, those are the issues we attend to on daily basis. And most of them too are part of these trafficking issues. For example, look at what happened during the COVID, where Nigeria was embarrassed, let me put it that way, because we have a lot of girls that were repatriated from Lebanon, from Oman, from Egypt and all that. Due to COVID, we all saw the video that went viral. Oh, President Warri, come and rescue us, so we are dying. Minister of Foreign Affairs, we need your help. Honorable Abike Dabiri, come and take us, and all that. And guess what? When these girls were eventually brought back home, they were put in the hotel. The government want to profile them, to cancel them, and reunite them with their families. Many of them claimed they were trafficked through football. They said they were going to play football, but getting to Lebanon, they found out that it was prostitution that they ended up doing. That was why we were talking about having an alternative to football. If football doesn't work out, what next? Like I'm so happy listening to that guy that gave his testimony for Lao. He said eventually when he couldn't play football, he had to move into other things to do, and some move into drugs. If they don't have an alternative, if they don't have a certificate before they leave here, apart from the football career they are pursuing, if they don't have a certificate, once they are stranded, once they have issues concerning the football, they get stranded and they delve into other activities that is inimical to their progress and the progress of the country. So we always encourage that if you want to travel, travel right, travel legally, so that when something goes wrong, you can find an alternative. Look at what happened in Egypt during NSAS. 7 Nigerians when the protest, as they were leaving, the police followed them and arrested them. Why? Because nobody is allowed. Can you hear me? Am I still on, please?
We hear you.
Hello, sir.
Continue.
Hello.
We hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, continue.
Oh, yeah. After the protest, peaceful protest, yes. But after the protest, they followed them and arrested them. Why? Because in Cairo, in Egypt, nobody is allowed to go on any protest and whatsoever. And when they were investigating these 7 people, behold, 6 of them are living in Egypt illegally. They don't have papers. They don't have resident permits. And they said, oh, you know what? We're sending you back home. Nigerian government has been trying all they could to make sure they have mercy on them and all that, which is not yielding fruit yet. The only one out of the 7 that has the resident permit is going to be fined and is going to be made to write an undertaking that never again will he be involved in such a protest. So you can imagine why it is always good to travel legally, so that even when something goes wrong, you can still have something to fall back. So my agency is always willing. I want to appreciate Hanfeed, Mr. Shudeke, for organizing the program like this. We would love to partner with you. I've already put our website and email and phone number on the platform for anybody that wants to contact us. We are always ready as government to do our best to make sure that this menace of trafficking is tackled, and by God's grace, we will get to the end of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. I can see my game online. I can see Ugweke Emmanuel Lambert. I can see Elias Jolomi Dikoru. Thank you for joining us. And from the attendees, can we have some kind of reactions, no matter arising, or questions for any of our debaters before we take it home before they take it home with their final statement? If anybody is willing, can you just raise your hand, then we'll take you. I can also see Joshua Edoen from Swanberry Group as well. So can we have okay, Joshua is raising hands. I don't know. Can we have his mic on? All right, Joshua. Please let me to unmute his mic. All right. Quickly, please.
Okay, thank you very much for this very informative session. I really appreciate. Okay, now, you see, this issue of trafficking, I will really blame it, one, on desperation and economic situation. Okay, like have met a lot of parents that will put pressure on you due to the economic situation, that they want their children to travel at all costs. And when there is this kind of desperation, in fact, where there's anything like desperation, there is all manner of things can happen. So now, I want to ask the yes, the debaters. Okay, now, is there anything like, should I say, anything to mitigate, as in, is there any commission that will help economically to empower people so that we can reduce the effect of this desperation? Because everything boils down to desperation. It boils down to desperation.
All right, your question is noted. I think Egem is also ready for us, so that we can just take all of them together. Michael Egem, are you there? I saw you raise hand in the comment section. Okay.
Yeah,
Egem,
I can hear you.
Okay, we have just less than 120 seconds. So please, can you quickly round up your submission of questions?
Okay, sir. My question is this. Thank you for this wonderful lecture. In case as a coach, you have an academy, because I reside in Lagos, and you have good players that clubs need their services, either within or in Europe. What are the ways to channel this player to those clubs that are legal within football business, that wouldn't state your image on a team or be seen as trafficking of players? So I think we need to be sensitized on this, so that tomorrow a player will not be a club and will be embarrassed.
All right, thank you very much. I think that's all I take from the attendees. Eddie, Sherry, can you quickly jump onto the last questions? Eddie, Sherry, Ogbemudia.
Yeah, thank you very much. Mr. Mike Egem, I thank you for that question. I will just go straight. I will advise you that you should get an intermediary to see how you can go through the process, because I believe as a coach, you might not really know some of the nitty-gritties that is involved. And I tell you, there will be a lot of even clubs in Europe, they will be telling you your player is this, your player is that. I tell you, it's not about Nigeria alone. Some of all these agents are also traffic players. They are foreigners. They're not even Nigerians. They will just send one thing before you see, you find yourself in Europe or any other place across the border. So I will tell you, get a licensed intermediary that you're working with. And with that, I'm very sure it will guide you properly. I'm not selling my brand, but if you want, I can actually work with you if you are okay with my terms. So that is just a piece of advice.
All right, let me bring Lerina to help us round up this session. Summary from Lerina. Lerina Bright, are you ready for us? Hello, Lerina. It seems Lerina is offline. All right,
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, Lerina, quickly.
Okay.
Your final statement. More of rounding up for us. We are out of time.
Okay, so I think I would just like to repeat that, and to reiterate that, this issue is a multi-stakeholder issue, and it really would require multi-stakeholder action for any solution that will be accepted by everyone, because we're dealing with diverging interests. But there also needs to be some mechanisms in place that safeguard, I would say, the pathway for footballers to pursue a legitimate career in the business. And that means actually putting in place checks and balances that will more or less check and balance, these legitimate actors that have gone rogue. So finally, awareness raising, education, that's key to prevention. But I would say that we need to have in place a better football, a stronger football competition on the continent and at a national level, because we need to be able to keep, youth, children at home for as long as possible. And for there to be strong competition, there has to be, there has to be improved administration of the sport. There needs to be improved marketing and commercialization of the sport, and that's the only way that I think will bring about a better, a lasting solution. Because,
all right.
Yeah.
The lasting solution is all we need, and I believe Lerina Bright, Coach Abdullahi, Mansur, Tolu Olasoji, Referee Emmanuel, Nyabam, Iseri, Ogbemudia, Akanbi Abiodun, Barrister Victoria Levigo, and Kenny Ogumilero are able to do justice to the topic. Women trafficking. Through football, we used to be blamed. We blame everybody, and they've provided solutions. We hope with time we can get rid of this man's evil to man. Thank you to the host, Ambassador Michael Shodeker, CEO, Anfield Lane Sports Promotion, for putting together the Anfield Lane Sports Virtual Public Debate today, 10th of December 2020. Olusola Adebayo is my name, and you can contact the host if you want to get to me. My number is 0814 376 7646. Thank you, everyone. You can wave your hand. Bye-bye. See you next time.
Thank you so much, and great moderation as well, Olusola.
Thank you, Lerina.
And thank you, Michael, for the invitation.
Thank you.
Let's do this again. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye.
Tolu Olasoji, thank you. Adebayo, thank you. Coach Mansur, I appreciate your presence. Iguoke Emmanuel Lambert, Joshua Edohe.
Thank you very much for having me on here.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Prince Shegun Alade from Istanbul. I appreciate you. For Lao and everyone online, we say thank you. And by this time next month, let me say, we will have another one next month. This will be the last for the year 2020. So by January 2021, we will be here together talking on another topic.
And Michael, what about, will you be putting out a report?
Yeah, the report will be out within the next few days. Olusola Adebayo will work on it. So we will get it in the next few days. So it will be sent across to you.
And that will be shared with all the participants. Okay, brilliant. And then shared, you said, with the Football Association and NATIP as well. Okay.
Yeah.
The different stakeholders. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
That's it for today.
Speak soon. Have a good rest of the afternoon.
And you too.
Bye, Lerina. Bye. Bye,
Speak
everyone.
soon, Tolu. I'll be in touch. Bye.
Yeah, bye, everyone. I'm good to be here.
All right, bye.